Grim here with the early parts of Act 5 when we actually get to select the Golden Dragon as our final selection for Mythic Paths. Now, to unlock the Golden Dragon, I'll explain shortly. This is coming off the back of my Lich playthrough, so all the choices made up until now are Lich stuff. I would normally skip this little bit right now, but it's kind of somewhat relevant to the plot for the Gold Dragon, so we're gonna just go ahead and show this, and I'll explain what's going on here. So go ahead and do this, talking. So here we actually can select a path thing here, but this actually does not lock in the paths. I made the mistake on my Lich playthrough, thinking that I had to select this and that this would select the Lich. No, you can select any of these that you want. This just affects the actual city. Like, when I selected the Lich thing here, it killed everyone in the city, they all became zombies and ghosts and such. However, the next time I did it as the Lich, I selected this, and it kept all the people alive. So that's just something you should know. We're going to go ahead and select this now just because it's fun, and this is a little bit of the content that I want to show right now. Now, to unlock the Golden Dragon, what you're going to have to do is keep the scale that's at the start of the game underneath Kenabres. You get 2 of those early on, and if you keep 1 of them, just 1, that's good enough, you can give it to the Storyteller, and he tells you a little bit about the Silver Dragon then. To get the next part of the item-like collection that you need to go to the Lepers Smile, deal with all the Lepers Smile, and in the northwest? Yeah, northwest section, like near the water, there's a cart, and on the cart is a talon, or a claw or whatever, for the Silver Dragon. If you go a little bit further north, you'll find the Necromancer wands for the Lich path. And just heads up, this little conversation cutscene that you see is going to take about 30 minutes, so go ahead and skip forward if you want, because I don't want to skip Nocticula or Iomede's talking right now, just because it's somewhat relevant because of the path, and most people probably haven't watched the Lich playthrough.
Knight Commander, at last we meet. And I greet you, Knight Commander. I suppose you're asking yourself why I am here. Gods must not interfere directly in the affairs of mortals. But what is happening here, in the World Wound, is no longer the concern of mortals alone. And this is proof. This fortress has witnessed so many horrors and miracles. It makes me wonder how it still stands. You gain more and more frightening abilities. Death is your loyal servant, and darkness your constant companion. The path you chose to defend Drezen, I cannot accept it. Demons are an evil that have brought immeasurable suffering to this world, and yet you gave them a choice? When they corrupt and destroy, they do not give anyone the benefit of choice. They do not deserve mercy. Your power is great, but it will be no good for Golarion if you continue to let its enemies run free. But I did not come here to reproach you, or to bewail the fate of the unfortunate defenders of Drezen. I wish to stop the forces of evil and defend Golarion, both from Deskari's violent rage and from Nocticula's insidiousness. But that is not my only goal. I have come here to restore justice, for justice is the birthright of all. That's why I hail you as a heroine who has triumphed over the demons many times. At the same time, I grieve for you, as for a soul that has succumbed to the influence of the Abyss and been poisoned by its evil. I have come to help you. In that moment, when my poor herald was being torn apart by monsters, he found the strength to send me a message about what he had learned in the Abyss. You were in Elutionera, where you spoke with the Lady in Shadow and the Architect of the World Wound. They confessed what they had done to you, but they did not reveal the whole truth. Both you and this unfortunate world will have to pay dearly for the power that they so generously bestowed upon you. But all is not yet lost. That is why I have come.
Alright, so 2 things I want to mention. I was on the Herald's good side in the Abyss. I basically kept him completely on my side the entire time. And he got really mad because I was a Lich and all that information came forward later. He was like, oh, I trusted you, you're a backstabber. So, a little bit of info there. And on top of that, Nocticula, She gave me the option to, like, use her as my patron, or whatever, use her as a patron. I denied her. So, just want to mention those two things real quick. It's relevant to the playthrough.
Who here has been taking my name in vain? Ah, it's you, the Inheritor. What's this? Our worst fears have come to pass. The gods are flocking to Golarion. This merry little tinderbox could ignite at any moment, reducing the material plane to dust.
I did not come here to fight.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you were good for anything else. Forgive me, that was unfair of me. Judging by your successes over the last 100 years, fighting is not your forte. After all, the wound is still there, as far as I know. So why are you here? If you have come to meddle in my affairs, don't expect me simply to stand aside.
The two of us will be more than enough. Listen to what I have to tell you. If she wishes to be present for this conversation, so much the better. Do you hear me, Nocticula? You and your servant are under no obligation to leave. I have come here to shed the light of truth. Let us see if you both can withstand its merciless radiance. I cannot change the flow of mortal history by force. After all, the world wound is their doing, although committed at the behest of the Abyss. But sometimes force is unnecessary, and truthful words are all it takes.
The goddess who was mortal not so long ago is eager to judge us for our sins now. My sin, to be precise. What lies behind your eagerness, proud Iomade? Righteous wrath? Or perhaps fear? Watch out. A simple mortal woman has learned how to grant powers to others. Powers which are beyond the wildest dreams of many Imperial lords. This must be stopped, forbidden, taken away immediately. After all, what need will we have for all these arrogant gods once we become their equals?
Silence. It is impolite to interrupt your elders. But you know, Inheritor, she does have a point. What are you going to do now? Break my weapon, which has made so many victories possible, and only because she received that weapon from my profane hands, and the entire affair must therefore be profane also? What real reasons do you have, save those born of your envy, your capriciousness, and your suspicions?
My reasons are quite real, as you well know. That is why you appeared here in such haste, is it not? You have woven a delicate lace of half-truths, Nocticula. From you and your servant, the Knight Commander has learned that she is bound to the world wound, that she is slowly dying because of its influence, and that she is yet capable of closing it. But you withheld a crucial piece of information. You never told her that closing the wound won't save her from death. For this lock will destroy the key to which it is bound. The one who closes the world wound will die along with it.
That is true. I tried to tell you back in Illusionera, but I was not allowed to. It is an unavoidable consequence of this process. To stitch two planes together as I have stitched Golarion and the Abyss, the soul of a mortal must be woven with the essence of the Abyss. To undo this seam, the original soul, the key, must be ripped apart. No one could survive such a process.
It is true. Now do you see the perils of accepting a demonic gift? No matter how much power the Abyss gives you, that power will always be tainted by lies and misfortune. This is the justice I promised you. The right to know the whole truth, and not to be a plaything in the hands of abyssal spawn.
Trying, you say? I successfully hid the truth from you for as long as I deemed necessary. Are you expecting me to explain myself? My goal is to close the world wound, not to grant you a happily ever after.
You will live.
You will lose everything that makes life worth living.
You will spoil a brilliant endeavor and destroy the lives of thousands of mortals who will be devoured by the legions of demons coming from the abyss. Aside from that, you won't do anything extraordinary at all. Oh, how noble! For a brief moment, I even felt some regret that we demons are incapable of such lovely feelings. You see now, Inheritor? My little protege has more nobility in her than you expected. Shame on you.
This nobility is exactly why I came here. To help the Knight Commander learn the truth, and to show her that she has been used. Besides, I do not believe that you have been acting for selfless reasons, Lady in Shadow. Honesty and nobility have never counted among your virtues. You own the main source of Nahindrian crystals, and your servant Arilu has learned how to break the laws of the universe with their help. Can it be that the ruler of darkness and mistress of assassins has not conceived a way to use this formidable gift for her own benefit?
Accusations, suspicions, all completely hollow, just like your bright-eyed pretty little head. It's a pity you inherited Eridan's sword, but not his sharp mind. I have but one goal now, to stop the armies of that lecherous billygoat and that gluttonous bug from strutting around my domain as if it were their own. I don't give a fig whether it will help mortals or hurt them. If the enemy of your enemy makes you a mutually beneficial proposition, you would have to be a complete idiot to say no.
Arilu has planted a piece of the abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads. Yes, the power that Nahindrian crystals grant you will bring about nothing but your own demise. The branches of the Tree of Sin are vast and verdant, but its only fruit is death. You will not be able to save yourself unless you reject everything that has been foisted upon you. Now you know everything.
So that's the part where it's actually like the legend, where the legend can just abandon everything and just become mortal again.
No, we're not quite finished with the revelations yet. Few secrets remain to be revealed, but they will be worth the wait. Does this look familiar? Do you remember the similar wound above your own heart? I have given you enough hints. Come on, ask me the question I have been waiting for.
So I have to make these checks. Anyway, we passed this, so we're gonna do this.
That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has 2 keys.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound, and the key was right under my nose this whole time. Arilu, my love, come over here. Wait, I said wait! That little bitch. I knew she would betray me sooner or later, but I never expected such an idiotic stunt. But everything seems to be falling into place quite nicely. You see, you don't have to die after all. Arilu opened the world wound, and Arilu will be the one who closes it, whether she likes it or not. Although, someone will need to catch her first, and this will require certain powers.
Yes, Arilu Vorlesh will pay for her crimes with her life. Her flight confirms that our suppositions were correct. But now we know that the world wound can be sealed with her blood. You have no reasons to remain indebted to the Abyss and indulge the Queen of the Succubi. Reject her gift, and secure your victory while being the person you were before Arilu Vorlesh corrupted you. Win as a mortal, and become a legend among mortals.
She's talking rubbish. True, we gave you the power, but it was you who chose how to wield it. It belongs to you, and it will remain yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But first, You must use it to close the world wound. You aren't going to catch this world's most powerful witch, and a half-demon one at that, with your bare hands, are you?
Ask, and you shall have your answers. My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power, I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords. Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered, and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them.
Alright, so I went ahead and freed them using the crystal knife or whatever that you get at the start of the game. It was the Aeon path. I didn't go for the Aeon path, but that was an Aeon choice that opens up the Aeon path for you. I will say, that dagger was actually extremely important, and I should have held on to it. But, oh well, too late. Wanted to mention that.
He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie, but both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth, for the noblest of reasons, of course.
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured, and now demons are using him to attack Drezen. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. For doing so would start an interplanar war. Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning. He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here. As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the abyss. At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the abyss. And following his desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years, so even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
In other words, our Imperial guest had no problem with your power, as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for her? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds. As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself. The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme. Be on your guard. The architect of the world wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival. Aurilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads. It is time to make your decision, then.
If you have questions, ask away. Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Aurilu, of course. Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Aurilu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, the powers Aurilu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely. You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Aurilu slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound. Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go. Now, let's think. She's hidden in the Abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Aurilu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that. If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain, and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the world wound. Tut tut, how rude! I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse.
Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Aurilu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And no offense, but you're no match for any deity. Very well.
After I rejected my demonic past, I lost some of my previous abilities. It was difficult, but I coped with it. You are stronger than me, so there's no way that you won't get through this. Cast off the power of the Abyss and follow your own path.
I didn't let her become corrupted.
I enjoy feeling mythic power within me, but my life was perfectly fine before it. So it is up to you to decide.
I let Camellia play her little games in the shadows.
Your power doesn't lie in magic tricks. You know it doesn't. Your real power is inside you. You can win without tricks. I will help you.
I let Ember preach to demons and everyone.
As a cave monster who's going to grow old and die in about 10 years' time, I can tell you this. There's no power in the world that's worth selling yourself out to the Abyss for. Being the invincible companion of the magical commander was fun and all, but we don't need it. It doesn't really matter how much magic they've heaped on you. You're the commander because you have the heart and mind of a true commander. Screw your power. Don't betray yourself. That way, we'll win.
I led the mongrels to the surface. Windiga ended up betraying me in the Abyss. And, little thing, the mongrels have, like, all disappeared and all that stuff. Oh, also, Lon has pretty much forced me into a romance, even though I had no interest.
I'm a member of the Order of the God Claw, and I cannot disregard the opinion stated by one of the 5 deities whose virtues we extol. However, I also cannot support it unconditionally. Your power is a useful tool. Its nature is solid, and it tends to yield effective results. To reject such a tool for the sake of an abstract ideal would be highly unwise. Retain this power and use it to bring the criminal Aurilu Vorlesh to justice, and to rid this world of its greatest scourge. Such an outcome would represent a grand triumph of order over chaos.
I passed Regal's challenge, his little trial and all that stuff with the Hell Knights.
You're halfway to becoming worse than Baphomet and Discari combined. Reject this demonic crap, no matter how much power it gives you. Iomade herself has offered you her help and a chance to redeem yourself. Don't squander it, because you'll never have another chance like this. That's it. No way back.
So I helped her out picking a wedding gift and a bunch of other stuff. I forgot to take her to the Aldore person that was in the Molten Scar, I think was the name of it. So that quest is a little botched, but there are still people that apparently lost their souls in Drezen, and that's part of her quest.
After all you've done, I am not even sure that you still have a chance for redemption. But if even a grain of humanity still remains in you, please do as the goddess says.
I took him to the Abyss to try and save his brother, and try to convince him that Hell Knights were good. His brother ended up not coming back with us for weird reasons that I kind of don't know what happened there. I think it was because of what I did in the arena. I kind of more or less forced his brother to stay put. But he's fine. He actually overcame his issues.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen.
So Daeron still has like this weird outsider thing that's bothering him. Just saying.
As for your original question, I have no idea what you should decide. Do as your heart tells you, or just flip a coin.
I'd better keep my mouth shut. No offense, but if I say something wrong and they hear me, I'm toast. Nothing good'll happen in my life ever again. Playing games with these crazy old, with ladies like these might be dangerous. So you better figure out what to do by yourself, all right, Chief? You're smart. You'll make the right choice.
For Woljif, I had him abandon his his abyssal heritage.
Experience tells me that it's wiser to trust yourself and your own abilities. You can't trust what clients tell you. One day you're a hero, the next you're working for the enemy. Sorry, but it all looks like a setup to me. First they tell you to lay down your weapons, and then, once you're unarmed, they finish you off in some back alley.
I've gained Greyboar's full support, and he's joined the Assassin's Guild.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view. You are an experiment started by Arilu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
Yeah, Nenio's a Kitsune, and I still have to do all her stuff. Alright, with all that out of the way...
I am waiting for your answer.
Quite right. Make your choice, and make it the right one.
I just had to go over all of them just in case no one watched the Lich playthrough where I was making those choices. Because that's going to be a little relevant to this playthrough. So let's just go ahead and look at the stuff that happens. One thing you'll notice, my hair went from white to black, and I kind of gained a light yellow effect, light brown effect. That's like scales, golden scales all over my body. So we get this breath attack, which is pretty nice. We get this bonus as well. We won't get this right away, and a bunch of immunities and such. We'll actually see it in this screen. We only get the breath right now, we'll get the other stuff later. Here's the big thing. So, our, where is it? Where is it? Is it in this one? Anyway, I'll just mention it. Our modifiers, or class modifiers, can't be below 14. Because of the Golden Dragon path, or sorry, Gold Dragon path. So that means you can really min-max the hell out of this class. The Mythic path.
How beautiful.
What is that? Where did it come from?
So, this is the path you have chosen? Well, I accept your choice with respect. It will not be easy for you, Guardian of Mortals. Do not expect any gratitude from those you save, and your loved ones will have to pay for every one of your failures. But if you can handle the burden that you have just taken on, then perhaps one day you will understand how I feel, and then we will meet again. And now I bid you farewell.
Okay. I'll probably cut out all the loading screens just because of how long they take, because Drezen is a massive city and it always takes a long time to load. And just touching some of the stuff that I'll be doing with this playthrough, because this is more like an in-between playthrough. I've already played the content here with the Lich path, so I kind of know what to expect, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip forward through a lot of the stuff like the army battles, unless they're really important. All of them are going to be skipped. I'm just mentioning this because this is episode 0, and episode 0 is more or less just me establishing, unlocking the Golden Dragon, and setting up the premise for the actual playthrough. Also, I'm going to be respecking in this video. Next episode, we're actually going to be talking to Hal, and we're also going to be dealing with the consequences from going from Lich to Golden Dragon. Or sorry, Gold Dragon. I keep saying Golden because it makes sense, but no, it's Gold Dragon. So, we're going to have to deal with the fallout from that. It's actually not too bad, the fallout. I just have to take care of all my undead companions that I picked up, as well as a few other things. Just take all their loot off of them. But it's not really that big of a deal. I actually still have access to them until I go to a certain point, and then I end up losing them. We'll see it next time. I've already seen that part of it, just to see if there's any, like, weird in-betweens, and more or less just to help myself figure out the build that I want. Okay, are we loading in? Yep. All hail the great gold dragon. Wishes her wife was over here? Uh-huh. I should also mention, I'm not going to be reading most of the lines because I sort of have a little dyslexia when it comes to reading out loud. So I'll be spending a lot of time just trying to read the same thing over and over again. Sorry about that. I'll give you plenty of time to read it. I do apologize for that. I know some people want me to read stuff out loud, but I don't know. Yeah, gotta deal with the ziggurat pretty soon. Alright, if I see Irabeth, I'll have her protected, I guess. So this is the final arc of Regal's quest. And this is Dayron's quest starting up. We chose to keep it secret from him. Okay. That settles all that. Go ahead and take this. This is part of the trap, I think. Or something like that. Nah, something else. Alright, and we're gonna go ahead and move on down to get Respec with Healer. I don't think these people have anything to talk about, so it doesn't really matter. Now, Hal is right outside the gate. I'm not gonna mess with Hal. Let me go ahead and save now. Come on. Gotta give it a second so I can finish loading. Or sorry, saving, otherwise it will corrupt the save. Ah, I hate this. Sorry. Normally it doesn't take this long, but for some reason it's decided to take... There we go. If I go too fast, it will corrupt the save, which is something that I really do not want. It's happened a few times. And I stopped talking during saves just because the OBS starts acting up, and it causes my audio to cut in and out. If you're wondering in the future why I don't talk during save. So, Healer is over here. Go ahead and turn this in for a little XP. And we're gonna go ahead and get retrained. Go ahead and select me. Let's see, I have somewhat of a list constructed for this. And I want to do this on camera because it is kind of important in case no one actually got to the the Lich playthrough. Let's go ahead and select the one that I made to represent the change of the character. So I'm staying with the Blood Kineticist because that's what this whole playthrough's mostly about. The Mythic Path is kind of just a side route to what the character's build is supposed to be. Keeping the same race and keeping all that stuff for the most part. So I'm gonna start as a pickpocket, like before. Now here's the big thing. Because of what the dragon does, we can go ahead and just dump all the stuff that we don't need. Now I have something here that's changing this modifier. It's the, I don't remember. It's like some profane gift that's causing that to get down by 4 or something like that and boost my constitution by 2. So we want this up to 20. Want this to be 18. And put the rest in this. Now you might notice that I don't have an odd stat. Normally I would have an odd stat, but I can't really make do with that. I could drop the Constitution down a few points. Like, I could go all the way down with Constitution, and all I'd be gaining is more int, which might be worth something, but I'd rather have the int in order to get more skill points. Skill points to me are kind of important. But I could drop the int. Not gonna. What I'm gonna focus on, let's go ahead and get Stealth, Trickery, Perception, Persuasion. And the first points, point blank shot. I have to take water because of the blood kineticist. And I'm gonna stay with the god that I had originally too. Okay, and I think this one I wanted that. And was it this? Black and gold? I think so. Might go with more of this shade.
Follow if you dare. My skills, none. This will hurt.
Let's get Laura Bailey. I think that's who did that voice. It sounds just like her.
An expected outcome.
Come on. And we won't be able to do the dragon thing until I get up to level 17 or whatever in this. So, it'll happen eventually. And we'll see the changes when it actually happens. Let's see, for this, I would like blind fighting. So let's go ahead and go for blind fighting. Where's blind fighting? There it is. The list I made is a little loose for the feats that I want to take. So precise shot is really good, so you don't get the penalty. And we have to take extended range for the build that I'm going for. It's pretty much required at the end. But just put all the points into Dex, it's not a big deal. And what do we want? I think we're gonna get Persuasion. I think Persuasion. So skill focus, Persuasion. Weapon focus, I think. I could go for spell penetration if I was going for elemental blasts, or energy attacks, I mean, energy blasts. But I'm not going for those in this playthrough. That was in the Lich playthrough. This one's going to be all bludgeoning, so the spell penetration skills will not actually help me too much. So I'm thinking weapon focus. And we're just going to get Kinetic Blast. Now, if you were going for Dazzling Display at this point, you would actually need to have the Unarmed Strikes, because Dazzling Display would trigger with Unarmed Strikes because your hand's open as a Kineticist. For some reason, it doesn't register the Kinetic Blast. I guess it makes sense, because the blast is something that's formed in between the rounds as you're attacking something. Just want to mention that. I'm taking this because the extra bonus I get from attacking with it. Knowing that, I won't have Dazzling Display at all. Here, what did I want to take? I could go for Improved Blind Fighting. That is an option. The thing is, though, with blind fighting, it helps for the first level to make you immune to gaze attacks. After that, you're more or less just improving your melee capabilities. And Kineticist, unless you're going for the Kinetic Blade route, which I think I might do. I might do that. Unless you're doing that, then there's literally no point in bothering with that. Kinetic Healer, Kinetic Restoration. Healer actually won't work on Dampier if you're trying to use it on yourself. it considers you as a construct. So if you take this as a dampier and you're trying to heal yourself, unless you have the... Actually, no, even if you do have the Life Dominant Soul or whatever feats, you still cannot select yourself with the healer perk because of the whole living thing, even with that. And the same goes with the healing burst that you get down here or whatever. That one also will not work on you at all. I've tested that. Just want to mention that. Heat adaptation and cold adaptation also will not work because of the Golden Dragon path. I could pick up Elemental Whispers for the Viper familiar or whatever I want in this. Maybe the dog for the... Get that out of my face. For the initiative. Sorry, not the initiative. Which one was it for the initiative? The cat? Anyway, we could get it for the initiative order thing, but that's also not necessary. So we're just going to go ahead and pick up the... I'm guessing blind fighting. Did I? You know what? No. No. I'm not getting blind fighting. I'm not going for that. We're going to go for more skills. Like I said, it's a little loose with the options that I can pick. I can pretty much take whatever I want depending on the build that I want to take. Or that I want to make. That's one of the amazing things about Kenabres, is how versatile it is, while still having access to so many options later. This one, we could get Blood Drinker, because that gives me a lot of temporary hit points. Dazzling Display wouldn't work, as I mentioned before. I think we're going to go ahead and pick up Life Dominant Soul. This makes it to where we get healed from our negative energy and also from positive energy, but only at half. And as it says, anything that says undead in the effect will actually still count as if it was a dead. So like lay hands and such. And the reason we're picking this is because we're no longer the Lich, we won't have access to the abundance of healing that Lich provided to undead. Before it wasn't an issue for me. Let's see, we are level 8. Yeah, my notes, I just kept on taking blind fighting, but I think this was the sheet that I had where I was actually using the sword, and I decided not to do that. And I wish I would have updated that for myself. Oh well, not a big deal. So we're just going to keep on going for focus. We could take Slick at some point. This is actually pretty useful. But I just want to go ahead and get the core skills in this at least. Probably one of the most useful things that you can take with the wild talent. If you are the one that wants to do all the skill checks, that is. Snapshot won't work because we don't do attacks of opportunity. I don't even know why it's recommended. If you're a kineticist and you're using kinetic blasts, you only get one attack per round maximum. So any attacks that say take multiple attacks or do multiple blasts, like cluster shot or rapid shot, they do not work with the kineticist. And if you go for like the melee focused kineticist, for example, taking something like Vital Strike also will not work because it says as a standard action, and the kinetic blast itself is a standard action, so you can't do both. Just wanted to mention that real quick. Let's see, go ahead and scroll down here. If there's anything down here, because sometimes they put stuff down here that actually is worth picking up. We're level 9. That's when I normally picked up Life Dominant Soul. I had the spell penetration in this for some reason, so obviously that won't be the thing. So let's go weapon focus if we can. Weapon focus blast. Oh, we already did that too. Right. Improved crit won't show up for a little while. I think we're gonna have to go for Blood Drinker then, for the temporary hit points. We have a lot of options. So many options, it's not even funny. That's why it's so difficult sometimes to actually select something that's worthwhile. Yes, spell penetration is extremely useful for the energy blasts. That's only for fire, some water, and the air. Earth is the one that I'm going for, and Earth actually has no energy attacks at all. The reason I'm going Earth is for the Deadly Earth, or whatever it's called. That is an insanely strong attack. I knew it was before. The reason why I wasn't using it in the Lich playthrough, though, was because I used a lot of summons in the Lich playthrough. And Deadly Earth does not care about your summons. It will just destroy everything in its path. So I try to avoid it when possible. Kinetic Blast. Yep. I know it looks like my stats are really bad right now. They'll get better as soon as I start with the Mythic stuff. So we could pick up Restoration, which might actually be worthwhile. I can take the point of burn, and I can remove any negative effects on me. With our Constitution and everything else, that's really good. For the Lich, you actually could not take any of these skills that cause burn. So these were pretty much worthless. These you couldn't use anyway. Just something to keep in mind. So we're going to go ahead and pick up the Restitution. Sorry, Restoration. Restitution. Wow, no. Completely different thing entirely. Wow. I think I'm talking too fast now. Let's keep going with this. Once again, note a snapshot. We could get armor focus because my character does use armor. I'm not taking this because it's too temporary. Critical focus would just be better than most of the choices we have in here. There should be improved. I don't see it yet. Eventually we're going to get a skill down here that's improved precise shots. I'll take that whenever that shows up because that's pretty useful. And here we are going to take, I think, push. Yeah, I'm thinking taking push here. That way we can knock stuff back. I would say now's the time to take blade if you wanted to go that route, but I would rather push things than mess with the blade. Even though my character could get up front and personal if it had to happen. Okay, so now what are we taking? I guess we could go ahead and take the Elemental Whispers just to get more skill point stuff. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes, and by the level 12, I actually already had the Kinetic Revival ability unlocked. That's this thing here. That's basically like Breath of Life, except it's based on other stuff and they don't get penalties. It's actually pretty good, but I see no reason to take Kinetic Healer just to take that, when I could just get a bunch of skill stuff, and I already have someone that can do that for me. So I think we're just gonna get the Viper for the extra 3 in Persuasion, 2 in Perception. Let me go ahead and check. The AC bonus from this might be useful. I know one of these gives initiative. Can't quite recall which one it was. There it is. So it was the hair that gives initiative and perception. So that could also be pretty useful. But, you know what? Actually, I would like to get the drop on my enemies. So yes, I think the initiative one would probably be the best thing. We have so many options, but I kind of know what I want to build my character as. Okay, go ahead and pick these. Okay, level 15, I picked up Critical Focus, but I already picked it up here, I think. Yeah, I already picked it up there, so let's see, level 17, I picked up Improved Precise Shots. Everything's, like, off because I changed some things in my notes. I could get Sickening Critical. That might actually be something worth picking up now. In fact, we're gonna go ahead and do that. That way we have an extra effect whenever we attack. And here we're gonna pick up Earth. And where is it? Level 16, we picked up Tremor Sense, or we picked up Stone Skin. I don't really care that much about Tremor Sense, since my attacks shouldn't be missing anyway. So we're going to go for the Flesh of Stone instead, for the massive damage reduction. It's like a damage reduction of 9 or something. It's pretty nice. This isn't too useful. My effects would last so long anyway that it doesn't matter. And if we check in here, we could get stuff like Trip and all that, but we'd have to be up close for that. Group Fortitude is kind of lackluster too, since our Fortitude's already through the roof. And this isn't very useful either. So that's why we're going for Flesh of Stone. I'll take damage reduction over AC any day. Okay, so level 17. We can go ahead and pick up Improved Jaunt now. Whatever that is. I think I just passed it. Let's go ahead and type in the word shots. Probably already had the option to get it before. There it is. Wait, what? We probably actually passed it multiple times. Yeah, maybe. Whatever, we have it now. And we could do something fun and pick up Fragmentation. However, Fragmentation is nowhere near as good as this skill. Like, not even close, even though this is level 6 and this is level 7. This is a persistent effect, while this is a one-time thing, and this can miss. This can't miss. It's just gonna happen. Alright, now we can go for the Mythic stuff. So in the Lich path, I took this for the negative energy stuff and all the undead summons that you get. I could get something like, could get Closer to Heaven for the bonus. Or I could get Bit of Fun. Bit of Fun, though, just seems so useful because of +3 to skill checks. So we're getting Bit of Fun. And for here, I want Kinetic Overcharge. That way I can have multiple things going without many penalties going on. So one thing about the Golden Dragon path, when I was the Lich, I actually gained access to perks like here and there for the Lich and the Skeletal Companion. You actually do not unlock any Golden Dragon stuff until you're rank 8. And then it starts ticking. So, just want to mention that. Let's see, improved crit maybe, and go for Kinetic Blast. My notes are all over the place because they actually have spell penetration for that one, and I already said earlier that that isn't really worthwhile. We could get Elemental Barrage, but it's not too useful for this, I think. We could also get Ascended Element. However, Earth is a little iffy. I don't think Earth actually would classify as Acid. Because obvious reasons, it doesn't really do acid damage. I don't think it would classify as Sonic. I could go for this because I do cold attacks with my base attacks. And I could go Electricity because I do electric damage on top of the cold damage I do whenever I'm slotted for the blood attacks. But for now, I think we should go ahead and pick up something like Last Stand. Last Stand is extremely important. And I would say Last Stand probably was more important than Kinetic Overcharge if you were starting from, like, the baseline Mythic path. Last Stand first, then Kinetic Overcharge, just because of how useful it can be early on. Okay, so level 4. Let's go Weapon Focus, Kinetic Blast. Level 5. Picked up Overinfuse on this one, but I don't think that's actually necessary. I don't have too many, like, substances that get added to actually warrant having the Overinfused ability. I have... Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. Push is considered a infused perk, so this could be useful for the push effect. That way I can have the effect that causes them to bleed on top of having the push effect. Is it worth it, though? I honestly don't think it is. Elemental Barrage would probably be more worthwhile than that. Yeah, I'm thinking Elemental Barrage. Stuff like Cleaving Shot wouldn't work because that you can only get one blast with a ranged weapon. This could be pretty useful as well. Yeah, we don't really have too many options, unfortunately, for this. We have plenty of options, but not too many good ones. Like, even this is pretty useful every now and then. So, I think I'll take the Elemental Barrage, since I should be able to proc this almost all the time. The Deathly Earth, I believe, is just, like, bludgeoning earth damage. However, I do have other attacks in my kit. I have lightning with water attacks, so lightning and cold and all that stuff. And I might have the ability to, like, add holy damage to my stuff, so this would just add extra damage in general. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I can't do this because I actually do use armor. Alright, I locked it in. I'm not going back through just to fix it if there's something wrong with it. Level 6. We could start getting other things, like we could get skill focus and just make it to where we can only take 10 on one of these. I have noticed that even though we are able to take 10 on this, if we roll a 1, we still fail. That's a little bit of an issue. I could get Destiny Beyond Birth to get rid of the -2 penalty to my wisdom because of my starting thing. Not really worth it. This is only for melee. This is pretty useful. I don't have any spells. This is one of the best things that we could probably take. But overall, I think I'm going to take this. I think this might be the most useful thing. Yeah. Okay, what do we take now? Rank 7. And this will be the last feat that we get for a little while, because as soon as we pick this, you see that the chain stops. This is all dragon stuff afterwards. So whatever I pick here is pretty much it. I could get Ever Ready. No, not Ever Ready. That's not what I'm thinking of. I can't get Ever Ready, because I can't do attacks of opportunity. I could get Always a Chance, because there's always a chance that I'm going to miss with a 1, even if I have all the bonuses. So that actually is pretty worthwhile. This can be useful. However, I don't care that much about it. So I think what we will do is we're just going to go ahead and get the Always a Chance so that I don't fail on a 1 whenever it comes to attacking. I could go for Ascended Elements and go Cold. And in fact, that's probably the best thing I could go for. Ah, sheesh. Should I? You know what? Yeah. I do cold damage with my attacks, I think. Well, it's water damage. It's not really cold. You get access to ice later. We could go electric then, because that's part of my blood attack. Yeah, okay. Because the water blast actually does blunt damage, and this will do, on top of the blunt with the blood, it actually will, it specifies electric. It doesn't just say blunt, so let's go ahead and get this, just in case. Always a Chance is nice, but I'm gonna go for this. And if it ends up backfiring, then, oh well, it just happens. And now, finally, we unlock the dragon stuff. Cool. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and do a little save. Okay. So as you can see, I still have access to my undead companions that are right here. I'm gonna go ahead and take all their loot off. Not that it matters. I can use them still. I can fight with them. The moment that I enter the ziggurats, I lose access to them. So we could do whatever we want with them. I think that their loot gets deleted as soon as they leave me, though. Because some of them have kind of unique gear, and I didn't see it appear in my inventory or anything like that whenever I had just dipped my head in to see what happened. Okay. What we're gonna do now is go ahead and change my outfit up. This mask I gained while I was a Lich. I'm not gonna use it. Keeping that on, keeping that on. We can go ahead and take all of this stuff off. Just for now. Because we need to re-equip all our gear after we respec ourselves. Take all that off. Take that off. All this stuff needs to come off. Okay, we can go ahead and put this back on. It's some weird thing. Whenever you respec, you lose access to all the effects from this stuff. Alright, and as you see over here, it says that we have +7 to wisdom from other. That other is the dragon. The gold dragon thing, adding up to the level 14. Sorry, base value of 14. We're losing 2 because of our bloodline thing. And with charisma here, we would have 14, but I have that unclean gift, which is lowering it by 4 afterwards. So, it's just a little something. Trade off for the unclean, I get +2 to my constitution, which is pretty nice. And I also get, I think, +2 AC. So it's a decent trade-off. I don't care that much about it, and I have a bunch of these books that I need to read at some point. My inventory is a mess. It's a nightmare. Let's go ahead and try and put stuff back on. So this thing makes me immune to fear. Go ahead and put that on. Can you notice the weird thing? Like, I mentioned the whole pigment thing. Like, I was gray a second ago. What happened? Huh. So weird. Maybe it's because of this. That's so weird. Keeping this on for now. I'll probably get something better later, but it's for the AC. Let's go price descending order. I think Regal has the item that I want. He's got this. What else do you have? You have this resistance cloak, but that doesn't really matter. I'm going to take this. Alright, so let's go down the list. I hate that it constantly removes that whenever I'm trying to keep things filtered. So this, it gives me extra resistances. It doesn't work with the gold dragon thing though, because my resistances as a gold dragon baseline are already so high that they actually... I didn't mean to click journal. Come on. Accidentally clicking the wrong things. Where is it? Is it Marshall? Alright, see, so I get 21 in all of these just by default. I'm gonna go ahead and make myself immune to poison damage, though. Not poison, acid damage, by putting this cloak on. Where is it? Is it this one? Immune to acid. So, immunity to acid's pretty good. I had the option to, where is it? This thing. I have the option to make this earlier. Apparently this was something that's supposed to be made in Act 5, but they updated the game and allowed materials to appear more often in order to create the Storyteller items early. So I made this while I was still in the Abyss. If you make this after making a mythic decision, like changing your mythic path, then it will actually change depending on which mythic path you are. So unfortunately, because I made it when I was a Lich, I'm stuck with the Lich version. If I had access to it when I was a dragon, I would have gained some... I think my bonus to my breath attack, I could use it like 2 extra times a day or something like that. Something useful. Something really useful. But I can't do it, so whatever. Not a big deal. Just figured I'd mention that now. So this is pretty much a worthless item to me. Unless they eventually add the ability to reroll these. Okay, so go ahead and put these back on. Let's see, as far as helmets go, we could go ahead and put the kinetic diadem. I got the kinetic diadem in the abyss next to where Lon's mission is. There was a group of demons there that attack you, and they had a kineticist that had the kinetic diadem on him. Ring of protection, just for more AC. Not that it matters. We can go ahead and put this back on, I suppose. That gets me up to the dex max, and also I get a little strength out of it. Ideally, I would have a constitution one there, though. I think he has that belt, though. Yeah, he's got the dex and con belt. So, actually, we'll go ahead and put that on. Can. Keeps on going, no filter. I don't know why it keeps doing that. So, dex and con instead. Make it to where we just hit really, really hard with our kinetic stuff. And is this the one? Yeah, this is the one for extra AC and also gives me 2 more in dex. I got this from the Queen, by the way, for, No, I didn't get this from the Queen. I forget where I got this. I got this from the Queen. For sort of being in a romance with her or whatever and having the storyteller write her a letter or whatever in order to talk to her. It was weird. Yeah. Where's my lucky gloves at? There they are. Another AC. I think this one for evasion. Yeah, we're gonna take this for the evasion. There aren't too many options left here. I could put these back on, because I took the mask off, and that mask was actually providing me a bonus to intimidation. So I still would need something like this. And as for boots, I think just freedom of movement would be good for me. Ember, you have the freedom of movement boots, so let me take those from you. There we go. That pretty much does the character, I think. Unless there's anything I'm really missing for him. Obviously, we don't have a spellbook anymore. And we have this long list of stuff that we need to put on. So let's go ahead and do that real quick, the way that I like to assign them. This, do this. I have the kinetic rod to extend my, to boost my kinetic blasts. I'm not going to ever use that rod. It's kind of a waste of an item, I know. But the reason why I'm never going to use that rod is because my basic attacks, these 2 attacks right here, they always get turned off with the rod. And I like to have access to my kinetic attacks. And it's not like they're just removed outright, like I can't use them here. I could still sort of use them if I have them slotted over here. But if I took this right here, this would become grayed out because it changes the actual thing, and this icon itself just disappears off my hotbar whenever I change maps or load the game or whatever. It's some weird bug that's been around for a while, and for some reason still is in the game. So I hope they patch that so I can actually use my kinetic rod at some point, but it's not that big of a deal. Yep, bit of luck. I'll take this because Deadly Earth is really, really deadly. No joke, it is a monster with how much damage you can do with it. Let's see, was there anything else that I really need to take? Guess I can put this over here. The shield over here. And where is the earth armor? There it is. Change those orders around. Get this right there. That's pretty much everything. Since I don't actually have a spell book, I don't have to spend a lot of time organizing that way. And let's just go out here so I can show you what Deadly Earth looks like, even though you probably already know. Oh, I need push. There it is. push on. Yeah, I think that's everything, actually. We can take this and put that there too, I guess. Do this. Something like that. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and go for a Deadly Earth. So yeah, you see this says bludgeoning, bludgeoning. Something like this does bludgeoning and electric, so it actually does specify that. That's why I didn't take cold, because this isn't cold damage. I have cold damage on like my Lich playthrough, so it's relevant there. Don't know why I'm bringing that up, but I figured I'd mention that. Let's see, go ahead and turn this on. Go ahead and pop this, just so I can see. Where is my Marshal? Yeah, so we're just stuck at 9 right now. That's pretty good, though. The bonus to acid really doesn't matter. The fact that full immunity is an option, I'd take full immunity over resistance any day. Okay. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like whenever I actually cast it. So we have push on. We're going to go ahead and either have one or the other. That's the thing I was talking about with the kinetic overflow or whatever. It's a little annoying, I know, but it's not that big of a deal. And we could do Deadly Earth here, that does 90 damage. Or we can do it here, that does 174 damage. And I'm just going to do it right here. That's why I took push. Look at that. It actually pushed the NPCs too, because of the Bull Rush modifier that I have. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of that. Obviously it didn't hurt them at all, but the fact that it did that's pretty nice. And we can just go ahead and show this right here. Honestly, it's gonna hit me too. It's gonna hit me and Nenio. So let's just try and get Nenio in this shot. I know this is kind of mean, but I'm not saving right here. I've already saved before all this, so... But yeah. Damage is reduced for some reason because of the bludgeoning. But as long as she's standing in that, she's going to keep taking damage. So let's go ahead and remove that. And it does the Bull Rush effect over and over again, pretty much. As long as she's standing in there. So yeah, that's about it. I don't want to kill Nenio on screen over just testing stuff. Next time, we're gonna go to the Citadel, outside the Citadel, and talk to Hal. Hal's the big-ass dragon, who's just chilling there. He's like my mentor. And after that, so I can't show it here, after that, we're going to go to the Ziggurats and deal with the Ziggurat stuff. I should probably also rest, but I don't think it matters too much. Obviously, I'm not keeping this safe. I think everyone who was at Death's Door before recovered from their Death's Door, so it's not that big of a deal now. Only thing I can say is maybe their spells got exhausted and didn't come back. Yeah, he doesn't have any spells. So we should actually probably rest. Now, one difference I will say between the Lich and the Gold Dragon playthrough that I have already noticed is at the start of Act 5, when you take Drezen back as a Lich, the archaeologist or whatever from the Dragon Burial Grounds, he will actually come and send like an astral projection to you while you're a Lich, saying that you need to get there and help. I have started the Dragon playthrough like 3 times now just to test stuff out, and he has not appeared one time. So I'm probably going to have to go over there anyway just to see what's going on, but the fact that he isn't bothering me means that there's something weird, like that might be tied to the dragon story, because that is a Dragon Burial Grounds. But anyway, this is Krim, signing out. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Comment below with what you'd like to see next.